As always, this episode of The Old Man of Three is brought to you by our friends Cash App. Cash App is the most versatile payment app, and we are heavy right now, Tommy, in the thick of golf season.
Yeah, I was going to say, where are you? What's the status? Up or down?
My handicap has not fluctuated, but I've had enough good rounds that I haven't lost many matches this summer. I believe I have a record of about 11-2.
Here we go.
So
just finding a bunch of people to play with you where you're not going to lose. This is smart.
Although yesterday, I got to be honest, I had my worst round of the summer, and my partner played out of his mind and kept us in the match, and I felt bad. I don't think I won a single hole. So hopefully today goes better. Anyways, I pay my debts on Cash App. All right, let's welcome in Jalen Brunson. Jalen, thank you so much for taking the time, man. We really appreciate it.
Sure, you guys, man. Anytime.
A lot has changed since the last time we had you on the show, and I just wanted to start by asking, do you consider Tommy and I to be part of the media? Like, are we media members? Would you consider that?
To me or to the public?
To
me,
you.
no.
Okay.
To me, no. You guys are nah. I think we've surpassed that.
Okay. No, I would consider you a friend. I wanted to kind of understand how you sort of labeled this discussion, because you had your opening press conference after signing with the Knicks. You finally had it a couple days ago, and there were no media members allowed. So this might be, I think this is your first interview since you signed with the Knicks, and it just means a lot to me that you gave us this exclusive.
Hey man, anytime. I appreciate you guys. Anytime. So yes, you guys got first dibs for sure.
We appreciate it. Let's just start with the Knicks, because I want to unpack this year's Dallas run and the playoffs and your performance and all that. You said about the signing with the Knicks that it was like one big family, and that was a big factor in this. And quite literally, your dad is on the staff. Leon Rose represented you. Leon, his first client was your dad. How much did that familiarity play a factor in all this outside the contract? And we're going to talk about the contract, but how much of that did played a factor in this?
It did. It played a lot. It's like I don't think I'll ever have an opportunity to have something like this happen ever again. You know, this is like a once in a lifetime type of thing where like everyone that's kind of been in that role is all in one building. And so I think it's very unique. I think it's probably never been done like this way. So like, I'm really excited for that. I truly believe that like having like my dad, Tibbs, guys who've pushed me ever since I was a kid. I remember talking to Tibbs when I was like a younger kid, like in high school in 8th grade, when I was working out in the gym in Chicago. He said, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and this, and he's like pushing me the same way that my dad would push me. And like this guy, I just once I kind of saw that, and as I grew older and saw like myself maturing and seeing what he was doing as I got older, like they wanted the best for what was best for me. And so it had a large impact on my decision, and obviously being close to home helps as well, but it's pretty special.
What do you think your sort of initial adjustment is going to be, sort of playing for Tibbs now after this history with him, because he's just coached you as family for all these years, but now it's a little bit different. It's a little more formal.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be different. I mean, it's the same thing with my dad. He's never really coached me as a coach. Like he's always been like a trainer / mentor in a basketball sense. Honestly, I'm excited for it because this is a different type of accountability. Like they know I'm a type of person who likes to be coached and likes to be pushed. And so to have someone like that where you can possibly cross lines, but knowing that it's all out of love and all out of respect. I mean, they know what type of person I'm, like how I am, how I'm made up. And so I don't think I'll have to worry about anything like that. But I just know that they're going to push me. They're going to try to get the best out of me.
Have you and your dad talked about this? Have you talked about sort of what this relationship is going to look like, if anything's going to change now that he will be formally your coach in the NBA?
A little bit. But I mean, I've always trusted my dad. I've always trusted in everything he's helped me accomplish. I think the coolest thing ever is that whenever my dad says something about me and my career, so if you do this, you can achieve this. No, if you like if you work this hard, like in high school, is if you work this hard, you can become All-American. If you do this, you can win a championship in college. Like everything, he's always set goals. Said if you do this, this is going to happen. And 99% of the time, I can't think of one time where he said like didn't actually come true. So like, how do you kind of go away from that?
Right. And what's he saying now about this Knicks thing? We're
still talking about it. No,
we're still talking about it. Okay.
We're still talking about it. Like we make goals every year. Not just me and him, but me and my family. We make goals, and usually it's team oriented. But if the team does well, then individually, like you have some success as well.
I was thinking about you coming back to the East Coast as well, and obviously the aforementioned relationships you have within the Knicks, but also just being back on the East Coast, winning 2 national championships at Villanova. I think you won 2 Big East titles in the Garden. Have you?
Should have been 3.
Yeah, should have been 3. Have you Googled mapped how long it takes to get from New York City to your Jersey Shore house?
Of course, come on, man. That's like one of the first things I've done. That was one of the first things I've done for sure.
But did all of that? I mean, I'm sure that the ties with the relationships, the contract, the fact that it's New York City, it feels to me, and knowing you and knowing how important it is to be around the place where you had so much success and where you have, physical ties as well. It seems like that made it sort of the perfect situation. Like it wasn't like you were going to the West Coast or somewhere north in the middle of the country. You're literally going back to the region where you've experienced success, where you have all of this this tie.
Right. Yeah, it's like the physical ties are there. Like my grandparents lived in Long Island. Now, when I was a kid, I had like a little tyke soup in the middle of the kitchen with little Knicks stickers all over the floor in my grandparents' house, like shooting a little tyke soup while my dad's probably playing an away game. Like all that stuff is like kind of coming full circle, and it's like really cool that like now I'm like on the team where my dad I'm pretty sure enjoyed most of his time, and but it's surreal. It's something that like it's a special moment. It's unique, and I'm just ready for like all that stuff to kind of like die down. So when it comes to like work and stuff, I'm not thinking about this is like a special moment for me. Like, no, like, it's now it's like business, and like now I'm ready to go. But like as of right now, like, it's still like the coolest thing ever.
Have you gotten a chance? Obviously, you've done a bunch of stuff with Tibbs already, but have you gotten a chance to do anything with any of the other guys on the roster?
Not yet. So I think I've been talking to a lot of people. I've been reached out to the guys who definitely played in the summer league, and I would love to kind of like get back in the gym with them at some point before the season starts. But we're having something planned, and I think that's key to kind of like hit the ground running once the training camp starts. I don't want to wait till training camp to kind of start being like vocal, start being somewhat of a leader. Like I gotta kind of take the reins early, and when I mean leader, I'm just trying to get guys on the same page. Like I love the fact that we can have a group of guys who are hardworking and have good chemistry. Like if you can kind of set that tone now, I think it'll be great moving forward before the training camp even starts.
I remember sitting on an airplane with you at some point. It may have been the flight back from LA after Game 7, but I know it was at some point late in the season or during the playoffs, and we were having a long conversation in the middle of one of our card games about your upcoming free agency, your free agent year, and the potential of a contract extension. And I remember you giving me a number that you felt really comfortable with taking from Dallas, and that extension wasn't offered, from my understanding, until after the trade deadline. And by that time, you were having a monster season and you sort of bet on yourself. You take it back a year. Could you have envisioned a scenario
No,
where you sign a $100 million contract?
no, no. No, not at all. It's something that we were actually just talking about with my dad. We were on vacation. We went to Jamaica, and like kind of the same time the year before. And as soon as we got there, I was like, Dad, you remember last time we were here, we were talking about, signing the extension as soon as like we get the opportunity. He was like, yeah. We basically just doubled that. It was crazy. When I was back in, like when we were talking about like the number from Dallas and stuff like that, like obviously, like I loved my time in Dallas, wanted to be in Dallas. I thought I was going to be in Dallas for a long time. And then, like you said, I started having a monster season, and I went to them before they officially offered it to me. And then by then it was kind of too late. And it was like the business came knocking on the door. And so it was time to kind of just at least look. I had to do my due diligence and look and see what was out there. And but yeah, I honestly, like, people may not believe it, but I talked about it with my dad since like year 1 or 2. So yeah, we're going to be here for the rest of our career. Yeah. And that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the business side, unfortunately, takes over, and you have to make decisions based on that, and not necessarily, somewhere where you've built relationships. I saw your Instagram post that you posted to Dallas and the organization, and it was funny because when I read it, I obviously thought of the teammates and the coaching staff, which was a new coaching staff this year that I didn't have, but I also thought of guys like Casey and Casey number 2, and the whole training staff, Jerry, everybody. It was just, I was only there for 2 months, and like I'm still on a group chat with all those people. We still chat all the time, and I think that for me, every time you changed a team, that for me was the hardest part to let go of. Or not, you don't let go of the relationship, but that was the hardest part of leaving, was not being able to see these people that you've literally spent almost every day with for years.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for 4 years, I mean, those people were amazing. I'm pretty sure I actually talked to Casey maybe a day or 2 ago.
Which Casey?
Casey number 1. Casey number 1. And then, yeah, I think me and Heather talked last night. And I mean, those people, like you said, you're with every day. And you're not really letting go. It's just like you're not going to see them every day, so that's going to be totally different. But I mean, those people, not a lot of people understand how much of a difference those people make in your everyday life, like how you're getting ready. Like there's some days you're just like, I just don't feel like doing anything, and then these guys, they help you out, they get you ready. And yeah, I never took them for granted, but they're really special. And like the fact that like they're so personable and you can talk to them about anything, and that makes it even like harder. Like it's not just work. It's like they know how to be people.
Yeah. It's funny because I talked about this when I retired, and we put up a video on Twitter, and I talked about all the people that are part of the journey. And I would say on every team I was on, the training staff, the equipment staff, the PR staff, like you interact with them so much and you spend so much time with them, and then you go on the road and yeah, you hang out with your teammates, but you're also hanging out with them. You maybe grab a glass of wine in the hotel lobby after a game, talk shit in the locker room with them. And I think there's the NBA season is so hard. I think there's a level of joy and like sanity that training staffs and all those ancillary people bring to an NBA team, and I was always just so appreciative. Do you agree with that? Like they balance out the craziness of the NBA season.
You mean the craziness of the NBA players? Is that what you're trying to say? Craziness of the NBA players.
No, I mean, dude. Okay, you're constantly juggling gazillion relationships. You're juggling expectations. You're juggling your own performance. You're juggling your team performance. You're juggling media scrutiny, and it's like this static thing that you walk to in every day, and it's just it balances you out. It calms you down, and I just was always really appreciative of that. And yes, NBA players are crazy, Jalen. You have some crazy in you. Let's not joke around.
I wasn't saying I wasn't. I wasn't saying I wasn't. Trust me, I know who I am and what I bring to the table every single day. No, I really think that like they kind of, for at least for me, whenever like I would play well or anything, they made sure that they brought me back down to earth. They made sure, and then it didn't just trickle from like the training staff. It would trickle all the way back up to like, no, JJ Barea, no. Dirk would text me back after a game. Dirk would text me like "Happy birthday" like after I have a good game like that. So like it was, like, they always brought me back down to size, and not like I was like up here with it, but like they made sure that like they didn't get a chance to get up there.
Yeah. But JJ, do you think that is just the Jalen's in this process now of sort of helping build out this new organization in New York? But like, is that the sign of a good organization? Is when there is that continuity? And it feels like it doesn't really matter who the players are. Like when you have that consistency, you're going to have like a balance there.
Well, Jalen, you'll agree with this. To me, it feels like the staff has more continuity than player rosters. I mean, we're in the middle of this player movement, player empowerment era where rosters just change over. And there's not as many mainstays. And it's weird to say this, and specifically about the training staff. The training staff helps build the culture of an organization. They don't get talked about. They don't get written about, but they're an integral part of that cultural build in every organization. And that's why it's so inherently important that you go hire good people. That obviously they need to know what the fuck they're doing, but they got to be good people. And you just talked about knowing who you are. I think the training staffs the really good ones, and I was fortunate to be a part of a lot of really good ones. Everyone was self-aware. Everyone knew what their role was, what they were supposed to do, and they pushed their own egos to the side for the betterment of the players and ultimately the betterment of the organization. So, Jalen, do you feel like there's going to be a target on your back, given the contract, given the move to New York City, and just in general, the delusional expectations of Knicks fans year after year?
A target? No, I don't think a target, but there's going to be the expectation for sure. I mean, I don't think, like I said, I don't think target is the term, but the expectation is definitely going to be there. And I mean, Knicks fans are diehard basketball fans. Like they are the definition of a diehard fan. And I mean, expectations are going to be there. Like I said, like there's people are expecting a lot, not just from me, but from this team. And so I go out there and show it. I mean, there's a lot I can say, but at the same time, it's not about what you say, it's what you do. It's all about your actions. And so I'm always been a person who kind of doesn't say a lot. I'd rather show it versus say it. And so let's just say I'm ready to go.
We talked about this. RJ came out a couple months ago, and we talked about this with him. Were you following 2 seasons ago when the Knicks fans rioted after they won Game 2 in the Hawks series? Did you see that?
I saw a little bit. I don't know I didn't know it was a riot, but I saw something.
It was a full-on riot.
I don't know that they were like smashing Bank of America windows
I think both of you need to go back.
Looting Louis Vuitton stores outside MSG. But
I think both of you need to go back and check.
Is riot the right word here?
It was a full riot. It was a positive riot. It wasn't bad. But it was just that is the sign of how dedicated they are. I think to your point is that was Game 2 of the first round of the playoffs.
All right. Well, I I remember, Tommy, and you're not wrong. By the way, Jalen, I used the word target, and I kind of subconsciously did that, and I'd written down the actual word that I read, and it was a New York Post article from yesterday, was bullseye. Mm-hmm. That there will be a bullseye on you, and you can't know how it's going to be. And I say this all the time. I've said it on air. I've said it to Tommy a million times. We talked about it on the podcast. If you can play and not lose your sanity and your confidence in Boston, New York, and Philly, you can play anywhere. I think those are the three toughest markets to play in, partially because of the fan engagement. And I mean that in a very positive way. I mean that in a very positive way, but also the way that media operates in these cities. And you can't know until you live it. But are you in any way sort of thinking about processing, preparing yourself for what's to come?
I mean, definitely. I mean, it wouldn't be smart not to. I'm definitely thinking about, how everything's going to be, and best case scenarios, worst case scenarios. But I think no matter what's going on, I just got to own it. If I play bad, I got to own it. And I got to be better. If I play well, it's because of my teammates. They made it easier for me. I just got to be a person who's just authentic and owns everything that he does. And I think that's the first step to kind of being a guy who can connect with the fans and a guy who can connect with the organization, whatever. Just own everything that happens. Because it's going to be an uphill battle if you start pointing fingers. And I've never been a guy who's pointing fingers. And I'm just going to be who I am. Like I said, I know who I am. And I'm pretty sure with the people I have here around me, they've known me for a long time, so they're not going to let me change.
Are there basketball-wise, are there parts of your game, obviously your role is going to change a little bit in this situation, but are there parts of the game you want to expand on? Do you feel like the summer you're sort of thinking about as like a next step?
Yeah, I definitely want to make jumps, but while I'm making jumps, I just want to be the most consistent person I can be still. I think that being consistent is great. And we kind of, one thing I've done every year in my career, I've gotten better with more volume, but very similar consistency. And where my consistency has gotten better. And so as long as I keep making steps like that, I continue to get better, and my trajectory is obviously on the up. But I don't see myself kind of taking a dip, if that makes any sense. I just see myself just getting better and getting better, because that's how I've always been. I've always been the person who's gotten better and better and better. And when I think I've done enough, it's not enough for me. So I got to keep going.
Yeah, I think this is an important time to bring up a few stats. And you have played, since your rookie year, you played 42 games without Luka as the starter. So you starting, Luka's not in the lineup. In those 42 games, which is half a season, big enough sample size there, 17.3 points, 6.5 assists, 3.5 rebounds, the same efficiency that you're talking about. This year in the playoffs, 21.6 points in your run, 46% from the field, 4.6 rebounds, 3.7 assists. So there's been this natural growth that you've had. What I find really unique, and we have discussed sort of the inherent challenges at times of playing with ball-dominant players like Luka, and that I don't mean that as a knock. He's that good, and he can control every offensive possession. But what I find really unique about you specifically is that you are a guy who learned how to thrive with him, despite also being a guy who needs the basketball. And I think that growth is really unique. And when I talk about these numbers, and your regular season stats were great as well. When I talk about these numbers, it's apparent to me that the $100 million contract is warranted. And I don't know if you are aware, but I certainly spent enough time on NBA Twitter that there are some people who says you got overpaid. And I'm curious if that even crosses your mind. If that bothers you, if that motivates you, if you're just completely ignorant to that chatter, how do you sort of deal with that?
I'm definitely not ignorant to that chatter. It's impossible not to see it. Yeah. So that's the first thing. I mean, look, I'm honored that I kind of got this opportunity to be in that club of making whatever the number is. But I think for me, it's just no matter what the number is, no matter what anything, all that, like nothing changes. Like, nothing changes for me. Um, I think like the day of me doing whatever, agreeing to terms and signing and stuff like that. Like, before I did any of that, it was all right. I get my work in, so I gotta do my work on the morning, get my lift, shooting, whatever I do, and then I'll go about my business and do everything else after that. So the days I agreed, the days I signed, like, they were both the same exact days. Just get my work done and do all that stuff later. And so I've always been that way. I don't plan on changing. I don't really don't. It doesn't bother me. It's. I'm gonna be the same person, no matter what. No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, no matter anything. I'm gonna be me, and I'm not really too worried about that.
There's some people who may get on the show or respond to a question like that and give a similar answer. And I can honestly say from knowing you that is as authentic of an answer as you can have, because I know you, I know who you are, and I know you have the mentality of controlling what you're controlling. And I will say, from my experience, at least that 1 year I was with Philly, where I was on a big 1 year deal that first year, you're going to hear the chatter, but when those checks get there on the 15th and the 1st, it doesn't bother me. Believe it or not, it didn't bother me.
I would hope it wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would hope it wouldn't.
Your checks will be slightly bigger than mine, but whatever. It's fine. And over 4 years, but yeah, whatever. It's all good. Before we let you go, let's touch a little bit on the playoff run, and specifically, I just kind of want to go series by series. We can be brief on each series, but what was it about that Jazz series that allowed you to have so much success? Was it that drop coverage that they play? I know J Kidd, you guys did what I think is the smartest sort of strategy with Rudy Gobert, which is whoever he's guarding, you put in the corner, then you attack their individual defenders one-on-one and sort of force him to make a decision of either helping at the rim or staying home on a shooter. And Maxey obviously shot the shit out of the ball that series. But what was it that allowed you to have so much success?
Honestly, I just really feel like when people counted us out because Luka was out, it kind of like lit a fire in all of us. And it really did, because everyone was just like, everyone saw it. Everyone saw it. Like I said, when you see stuff like that, like the chatter, it's impossible not to see. And then guys, we send it to each other. We're like, yo, like people don't think like we're capable. And so I think after game one, when we came back and then we didn't close out the game well. I didn't play well at all. We get in the locker room like, yo, we're good. Like, we're good. Like, everyone was confident, like, yo, we are good. And obviously game two happened and I played pretty well and all that stuff. But then going forward after that, like, we had so much confidence. And like, it wasn't really about, like, obviously we did the X's and all this stuff. So we had our game plan and everything like that. But without our confidence and our trust in each other, like, that game plan, like, I guess it is what it is. But like, we had the confidence in each other that is, if we do the things that we know we can do as a team and stick together, because they're gonna make runs. Now, they were like the number one like offense in the league or efficiency or something like that. So we knew that if we just stuck together, they're gonna break at some point. And you saw videos of their bench, like them yelling at each other and things like that during the game 3 or 4 or whatever. And like, even when they tied it back 2-2, we were like, good. We're good. We're losing because of the simple little things that we know that we can fix, and then we fixed them in game 5 and 6. So we just had the utmost confidence in each other that we knew we can do it. And obviously, once Luka came back, that it was all said and done. But the first 3 games, like, we just had the most confidence because we knew everyone was doubting us, and that kind of fueled us to be like, all right, well, we'll prove you wrong. Like, we proved people wrong the entire season, and including the playoffs. Like Utah, and then no one had us beating the Suns. and we end up being the Suns. And then obviously Golden State's Golden State. But I mean, no one had us getting that far, but we knew and we believed that we had a chance.
I think everyone knows at this point how good a job J. Kidd did all year. But were there specific adjustments both in the Utah series and then also in the Phoenix series that you noticed that you felt like were kind of game changers?
Let me think. We kind of played the same type of style in both series. Now we wanted to kind of get them moving. Now we want to get the ball in the paint, make plays. Because once they start helping, we have trust in each other. We kick out. We either have shots. We can either redrive and create lanes for other people. We were always trying to move. We get our spacing, and then once we got into our spacing, we were ready to attack. And I mean, obviously it worked. And then the first two series, but I think once we kind of lost the game, we kind of went back to what we knew that we can do. And it kind of made it simple for us. He made it simple for us. Like, guys, this is all we have to do. Just got to stick together and do it and hold each other accountable while doing it. And we were able to do that it took 7 games, but I mean, those first 2 games, we just basically laid eggs and didn't do anything. In the Phoenix series, I mean, besides that, we were rolling.
I will always admit my L's as a pundit and an analyst in this new role, this new career of mine. And I did have Phoenix beating y'all. I had Phoenix going to the finals. And when they got up 3-2 in that game 5 specifically, even in game 2, when Booker was hitting those late threes and kind of, you guys, it felt like they were the better team. Even after game 5, I'm like, okay, there it is. That's the Phoenix team. And then they just laid eggs, as you said. They played terrible in game 6 and 7, and a lot of that had to do with the adjustments you guys made. And you were doing that throughout the series, having the big up and pick and roll with CP, not letting him play in drop coverage, blitzing Devin Booker on all his backside action, blitzing him when he's in pick and rolls, and sort of forcing the other guys to make plays. Was there any panic, or was there a sense of desperation when you guys got down 3-2?
No.
None.
Not at all. I can confidently say that we just focused on game 6. We didn't focus on game 7. We didn't focus on having to go back to Phoenix. So, what do we have to do to win this game right now? And then we went out there. We just did what we had to do and put us in position to go back to game 7. And once we got to game 7, we knew we had a chance to win because obviously they were up 3-2 and they were going back home. Now they have a little bit of expectation on that side. And I knew we could win. I didn't think we could win like that. I didn't think it was going to happen like that. That was nuts. When I say that was crazy, we were like, we're really up 30 going into half. When Luka was like, did you know that you had 27, they had 27 and a half? He was like, yeah. So I didn't even know that. I was like, there was just so much going on. It was quiet in there. It was never seen something like that in my life. Actually, I have.
You have in the NBA?
Not in the NBA.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was so surreal watching that game. And I called your guys game 6 in Dallas, and then coming back for game 7 in Phoenix. I remember just watching that game, and it felt so surreal. Like, because I don't remember a 1 seed at home being that bad. Y'all played great. Don't get me wrong. It had as much to do with you guys, but it was such a bizarre game. And you talked about that feeling in the locker room. It reminds me of growing up playing baseball. It's like if a guy's got a no-hitter, you just kind of don't talk about it. You're like, what's happening right now? We're just going to ride this wave, whatever's going on. Like, let's not discuss it. Let's not fuck it up at all.
I had something to ask you. Do you remember when I forgot you did that game. Remember when I saw you right before the locker room? How was I? Like, did I seem like shaky or nervous or anything?
No, you seemed like Jalen. Yeah, you seemed like Jalen. And
like,
I don't know if you remember. I mean, like I root for my guys. Like I don't have any vested interest in teams. But I said, I was like, go get a dub. Like I'm rooting for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I'm rooting for CP too. I'd be happy either way. Like I don't have any affiliation or like attachment to any team. It's more just about like rooting for my guys.
Oh yeah, 100%. The only reason why I brought that up is because like I was kind of just trying to tell you, like before an elimination game, like I'm running back to the locker room. And I'm just saying that because I showed you that's how confident we were. Like we weren't like yo, we gotta win this game. We gotta win this game. Like we were just like loose, like calm, like yo, we're fine, we're good. And then that was kind of the whole mood of all of us. Like we were like, we're good, like we're good. It wasn't like a uptight, like balled fist, like kind of like shaking. Like no, we were just calm, ready to go out there and play, and it kind of just showed that we were just ready to go.
Do you feel like I guess pre-Utah, like pre-playoffs, do you feel like you guys were slept on? And by you guys, I mean sort of like everybody but Luka. Like they didn't sort of understand what you actually could do.
Oh yeah, definitely. We definitely thought that we were slept on, and honestly, most of the guys in that locker room, I don't think we would want it any other way. Like all those guys were just hungry. All those guys were just like we loved proving people wrong. Like no one thought that we could do certain things, and we were just like, all right, so let's go prove them wrong again. And that was just how we were the entire season. And the guys I played with for those 4 years, how we were those 4 years, like that was us. And we kind of embodied that. We kind of loved that. And I mean, we were able to do some crazy things, especially that last year.
Obviously, Steph Curry, all-time great. What makes the Warriors so tough to beat in the playoffs? That group specifically, that core group with Draymond and Clay and Steph, and then truthfully just a bunch of other guys who star in their roles. And obviously Wiggins was fantastic. He was particularly good in your series in the finals.
I mean, you said it. The guys who star in their roles. They know their roles. They know their jobs. They know what each and every one of them are capable of. And it's their culture. They have a particular culture that like doesn't let you step outside that box in a good way. Like in order to be a part of this team, like you got to sacrifice. No, it's Steph and Clay. Like I'm speaking from the outside. It's Steph and Clay. Those guys are obviously like the engines, right? And then you have Draymond, who basically does everything else. Like Draymond's that guy who does when I mean everything, defensively, vocally, he's like an antagonizer. He does everything. Right? He's a guy that kind of holds that all together. And so while everyone sees Steph and Clay, like the big numbers and everything, like Draymond, like for me, like I have the utmost respect for Draymond because it's not easy to like what he does. Not easy. And to see him do it night in and night out, and then be the person who he is, and be the people that like a lot of people are just like are annoyed of him and don't like him. Like I like watching him is like it's great. Like he's able to do things that like all basketball players should do. Like he's literally the prototype of someone who you may not think should make the NBA is thriving in his role because he loves doing what he does. And there's a lot of people who are like, I need to be a scorer. I need to be athletic. I need to do all this and stuff. Draymond says, all right, like I want to be everything that you guys are not, and then prove to you why I'm worth $100 million or whatever he's making. Like he's like watching him and watching how he leads that team is purely incredible.
Yeah, I think for basketball players and hoop heads, I had coaches would always talk about basketball porn. You know, it's like certain plays. It's not like the flashy stuff that makes the highlight tape, but it's like the nitty gritty stuff, the little things that you're talking about with Draymond. If you really watch him play and you dissect film on him, it is basketball porn, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. The other side of that is a little bit of performance art. It's like a WWE wrestler going into the arena and antagonizing the crowd, antagonizing whoever he's wrestling against that night. And Draymond has embraced that. And I've told Draymond this before. I remember his rookie year, and he was kind of in the rotation towards the end of the season. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why is that guy in the NBA? He doesn't do anything great. At the time, I didn't know he was just going to be as good as he was defensively and as a basketball genius. I didn't know any of that. And like, he has figured out, you said it's not easy to do what he does. Not only that, he does it better than anyone else, and potentially better than anyone. I don't want to hyperbolize, but like potentially better than anyone in the modern NBA. Over the last 40 years or so, like you probably could say like Rodman probably is another guy who did it to that level. All the little things that get overlooked, and obviously Rodman rebounded the shit out of the ball. But yeah, Draymond he's so integral to that. Free trial subscriptions. Here's something that affects so many people, but somehow slides under the radar. They can end up costing you hundreds of dollars simply because you forgot to cancel. Well, now you can fight back with Truebill. Truebill helps you identify and stop paying for subscriptions you don't need, want, or simply forget about. Let's be real, companies make subscriptions hard to cancel, but Truebill makes it incredibly simple to end them for good. Just link your account and Truebill will cancel your unwanted subscriptions in one tap. On average, people save up to $720 a year with Truebill.
And your Truebill concierge is there when you need them to cancel unwanted subscriptions so you don't have to. Truebill has over 2 million users and has helped save them over $100 million. That's a lot of cash.
Yeah, Tommy, Truebill is great. I had so many subscriptions to things I completely forgot about, and they took care of all of them. So don't fall for subscription scams. Start canceling today at Truebill.com/JJ. Go right now, Truebill.com/JJ. It can save you thousands a year. One last time, Truebill.com/JJ. I don't know about you, but I think summer is for relaxing, not grocery shopping, cooking, and doing tons of dishes. With Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery, I can rest easy knowing I can eat well without the work. Plus, they have tons of balanced and delicious add-ons like smoothies, shakes, and snacks that are perfect for staying on track during all my summer activities. Factor makes it easy to eat well for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everything in between. With fresh, never frozen meals that are so delicious you won't believe they're actually nutritious.
Factor now offers 32 meals per week, including 11 keto options, plus lots of seasonal add-ons. And they're flexible as well. You can change your order up every week with plans from 4 to 18 meals per week to keep you covered when things get crazy.
Yeah, that feature is perfect for my schedule because some weeks are just crazier than others. Each Factor meal arrives pre-prepared by their team of chefs and ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, and their meals cover virtually every type of eater. It's a no-brainer, so head to go.factor75.com/JJ120 and use code JJ120 to get $120 off. That's code JJ120 at go.factor75.com/JJ120 for $120 off. Jalen, we appreciate the time. This is something I've been wanting to ask you, though, for a year or so. Who is the best Tonk and Bure card player you've ever played with in the NBA?
I'm going to say Courtney Lee because Courtney Lee cheats every time he plays. Courtney Lee cheats every single time he plays Tonk. And then I removed myself from Bure. That's just, no, I'm not even going to. That game was, I'm cursed in that game. So I'm not even going to talk about that game. I'm cursed.
Tommy, Jalen and I sat next to each other on the plane, and I will say confidently, like on a like adjusted for days spent with the team, my time with the Mavericks was my most lucrative time in the NBA. And Jalen also won a lot of money while I was there. And we would just like look at each other and be like, "This is so easy." Like, what?
Who's losing the mone? Who?
Luka for sure. KP for sure. Who was the fifth player? Who was the fifth guy that would sometimes jump in? Oh, DA. Yeah, DA would sometimes jump in with us.
Yeah.
No, it was a lucrative time in my life. It was a lucrative time in my life.
Let's just say JJ in the game of Tonk was John Stockton. He was just feeding me assists. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I say.
That is a fact. That is a fact. All right, bro. We appreciate it, man. Happy for you.
I appreciate you, man.
Love you like a pretend cousin. Be well, bro.
I'll see you soon.